In the last video, what we talked about was the effects of temperature, surface area, and concentration on the rate of reaction, and we talked about collision theory in general. The last one that we need to know about is the effects of catalysts on reaction rate. So, a catalyst is a compound that doesn't actually get sort of destroyed or used up in the reaction. And what it does is it lowers the activation energy, so the amount of energy that's required in the for the reaction to take place. And this is why it speeds up the reaction, because each particle will need less energy in order to react. Therefore, more particles will react more quickly. There'll be more successful collisions. So this is really important in our body. Catalysts, usually proteins, help to speed up reactions, and this really is what makes life possible. So if we, one of the, where are we? Get that down to, here you go. This is the one I want. So one of the key ways it does this is really it sort of lines up the particles. This is not the case with all catalysts, but they kind of make it like a surface area, a surface on which the reaction can take place. It's kind of like a bit of a chemical matchmaker, and because they tend to be attracted to be closer to each other and held in the right place, then the energy of activation or energy for the reaction to proceed is lower. It means it's going to go faster. That's really the key thing with a catalyst. So that's the last factor that we really need to know about. All right, what do we do when we're answering these questions in an exam? So a typical question, and I'm sure that you'll get something like this, is a table, and you have experiment 1, experiment 2, experiment 3. You've got some factors involved in them, like temperature, and you've got a rate of reaction. So in this case, it's time for the cross to disappear. So that might be a cross under a flask, and that's something you might have seen before in level 1 chemistry. So for the first reaction, it's 42 minutes, then 23, and then 5. So obviously the 5 is the fastest rate of reaction. So what we're going to see is what are the differences here? Okay, so between this one and this one, there is a difference of temperature, right? So we've doubled the temperature here. The temperature increases. Between this one and this one, there is no difference in temperature, so in the first one and the third one, but there is a Cu2 plus present. Why would we be talking about the copper ion? Well, if it's talking about a chemical that's present, it's talking about a catalyst. Okay, so let's go through and see if we can answer this. So what we need to do first is state our collision theory. So this is what we're doing here. For a chemical reaction to occur, the reactants must collide effectively. That's collision theory. They must have enough activation energy. That's important, right? Okay. So there you go. So the first one, we're going to compare the first two, the temperature. When the temperature increases, they have more kinetic energy, and the particles are moving faster. There'll be more frequent collisions. So that's the point 1 with temperature. And also, they're more likely to be effective because they are more likely to have the activation energy.